Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun.
Welcome to our reaction and review for Poker Face Season 2, Episode 4. You know how Gator Joe said that he is the Michael Jordan of being a cop in Florida in this episode? We are the Michael Jordan of doing video reactions about Poker Face as we sit here and talk about the life and times and death of Gator Joe, played by Kumail Nanjiani.
That was so funny. He is so funny.
Okay, I'll do a little bit of a story time here at the start. Like, I've been a fan of Kumail for a really, really long time, like dating back to when he and Emily Gordon were doing this podcast, the Indoor Kids. That was all about video games, and I'm a big video gamer. So, like, I knew going into this that I was going to be really biased because I really, really like him. But it's sort of this idea, too, of I would have never imagined that the Kumail I knew from way, way back when would then be going on playing whatever this guy was supposed to be, a Gator police officer TikTok. Like, this was such an absurd role.
It was. And I didn't think that it could get any weirder than Christmas bro influencer on Only Murders in the Building. But this was even weirder than that.
Yeah, I think this episode, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Like, I enjoyed it, but I'm also sitting here fully aware of the fact that it's pretty silly. Like, there's not that much of a mystery that went on over the course of this. Like, I think it was pretty obvious for Charlie, like, okay, who's the person I need to track down? Oh, here she is.
Yeah.
And it was very much by the numbers, and I think it left the cast to do a lot of the heavy lifting. But, you know, because I love Kumail and because I thought a lot of the jokes were really funny, like, it's a good episode that I would enjoy going back and rewatching, but it's also not like one of the 5 most important episodes of Poker Face we've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm going to say that even though I had some laughs and, you know, I really like him as well, I think he's really funny, that this was my least favorite episode of the season so far. It did feel like it was just too by the numbers with it. We had also just covered the Righteous Gemstones and, you know, there was a big Gator story going on over there. The sort of influencer getting killed, you know, we've seen that before. It just felt like there was a lot of storylines that were just kind of like a repeat of things that I had already seen. And with Poker Face, it really is a show that is taking a genre that's been around for decades now, you know, procedural, case of the week, and gives us these incredibly interesting stories and has made it fresh and new, and stories are, I'm like, I haven't really seen this story told this way or done this way, but this one really felt kind of like a more by the books. I didn't feel surprised by anything.
No, it was not altogether surprising. It's just you get into this, you have some laughs, you hopefully have a good time, and then you just move on. I mean, I guess we learned a little bit about what Charlie is up to now in a post-Beatrix world, but we'll get a little bit more into that. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we're going to be here with a lot more Poker Face throughout Season 2. We're also in the midst of covering The Last of Us and also The Handmaid's Tale, and both of those we're starting to inch closer to the finale, so you can kind of see those on the horizon.
Absolutely. And coming up very soon, next week, 9 Perfect Strangers. Duster is going to be starting up this week, which is a brand new show on Max, and we're extremely excited about. If you're a Lost fan, this is probably going to be the show for you.
Yeah.
So hit that subscribe button, stick with us, and also over on our Patreon, we are covering Murderbot, which is airing on Apple TV Plus, and we are covering Criminal Minds Evolution Season 3, which is airing on Paramount Plus, and that is the only place that you can get those weekly reviews. So you can join our Patreon and be able to check those out, and it helps support Matt and I here at the channel. So thank you so much to everyone who is helping us.
Thank you guys. That really, really means a lot to us. I just want to say from the start, the moment that probably made me actually laugh the hardest in this episode.
More than that Michael Jordan line.
That line was hilarious.
So funny.
The idea that they had, like, at this police gala, it's Matt Passmore from the Glades. Who remembers the Glades? Like, that feels like that was for the idea that, like, the actor from the Glades is here playing the actor from the Glades.
So good.
It was so stupid, but it made me laugh.
And good for him for having a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, it felt like this episode was just, it was really good at just sort of satirizing Florida and the idea that Kumail's Gator Joe can be, and this reminded me of Righteous Gemstones too, his version of the Christ following man of the year, top cop of the year, even though this guy is like pulling people over and making TikToks and like doing things with the gators while
I
he's actually supposed to
know.
be doing his job.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous, but also feels like this is absolutely something that would happen in this day and age.
Yeah, because I think here's the real point, I guess, that Poker Face is trying to make is that these competitions, they're not fair and they're not fun. It's
No.
like you're giving these awards to Gator Joe because he's getting a lot of attention on social media and he's probably making cops, at least to a certain demographic, look like they're really cool at a time in which most people do not feel that way. And so it's just easy to give him awards so that you get a little bit more celebrity around it.
Absolutely. It's all about the celebrity at that point. It was very cute the first year where he was like, oh, I rescued this baby gator. He's holding him in like a little baby sling. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, and she actually rescued me sort of thing. But of course, as the innocence goes away and now this gator is like full grown and he's having to still kind of find a way to make it work. It's again that comparison to him being Christmas bro over on Only Murders. This character was also an influencer who did like one Christmas video, and now
Yeah.
all of a sudden he has to be the Christmas bro where every single video is Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And for him, he's in the same spot where it's kind of like, oh, I was known for rescuing this baby gator and I got this fame from it. So now I have to continue it on where I'm rolling around in my cruiser and Daisy's sitting in the back scaring people. And this is how I make my money now.
I think they did a good job in just not having him be the bad guy within this episode. I think that a
Yes.
lot of this episode was pretty predictable, but when I first saw Kumail and I saw him in this outfit and I was like, "Oh, okay, I know who this reminds me of." Like immediately felt like they were going to make him the big bad. And so I appreciate that he was the victim. I mean, yes, did we really need all of the toilet humor within this? Like, that was the part of this. I was like, okay, guys, we're better than this. We don't need to do fart and laxative humor on Poker Face, which has been an Emmy consideration.
And we've seen this before as well. That's why for me, this really was a disappointing episode because it was all things, they're like beats that have been hit in so many other shows that it felt like this almost wasn't an episode of Poker Face for me because Poker Face is very smart, it's very quick, and it's been able to change this genre in a way that no other procedural has really been able to make it fresh, young, new stories that surprise me. And then there's this story where I was like, okay, like, yeah, laxative jokes, okay, influencer stuff, okay, gator stuff. We just saw
Yeah.
this. It was just too much of the same.
Yeah. And oh, look, the Gators had a certain something that is amplifying their behavioral
Right.
abilities.
Right.
It's a storyline that, yeah, it hit a lot of different beats. Like, am I surprised that somebody wanted to kill this guy? No. Like, that's the one part of this where I could have said, if I was working on this episode, okay, we could have blown this out and made it so that there were a lot of different suspects as opposed to like the very limited we had, just because a lot of cops would probably find him incredibly annoying. And that's without them being suspicious that he might be up to all sorts of other shady things and that like he's doing all this influencer stuff that, I don't know, pay off some sinister debt that he's gotten somewhere else.
Yeah, what I really liked about it is that while Joe is somebody that, like you said, oh yeah, everyone probably wants to take him out because he's making everybody look ridiculous. He's got all this fame, he's getting all this money, all this power, he's winning every year.
Yeah.
We have Fran, who's the person who originally didn't even want to be nominated for this award. She was just doing good police work,
Yeah.
feeling really good about herself, of what she was putting in and what she was getting out. Then over the years is just becoming obsessed with winning. It was good to see an episode where this murder wasn't actually supposed to be a murder. This was just supposed to be toilet humor. It'd be like, oh, he's having an embarrassing moment. Tee hee hee. Okay,
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better about it. But that it turns into a situation where no, that's not the case. I've had an accident. That's not just at the toilet.
It's a complicated and interesting episode in that way because, yeah, that part of it is very interesting. The part of it where the idea of justice at the end of this episode is really interesting too, because
Yeah.
I think we're so kind of ingrained. It's like, okay, killer gets arrested, killer gets locked up, and then we don't really see them again. But
Mhm.
with Fran, it's a little bit different in that,
Yes.
it's known that she is a good cop, and it's
Mhm.
sort of known at the end of this episode why everything happened the way that it did, and she wanted to take responsibility for it. But what does taking responsibility for that really even mean?
Yeah, because she actually decides to come clean about everything. She feels bad about it. It was an accident.
Yeah.
And she wants to, have justice put upon herself. She goes to her boss. She tells her boss what happened. Her boss is like, that's going to look bad for the department. So we're just going to look past it and just say that it's the gator. We're going to cover it up. And at that point, she's like, well, that doesn't help me alleviate my guilt of what I did to somebody who, yeah, it wasn't nice what I was going to do, but like I didn't dislike him and I didn't want to kill him.
No.
So I'm just going to turn in my badge and I'm going to be done with that. Instead, she's working at the Gator Sanctuary.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, she's found a different sort of lease on life that will end up working out for her. We have all the conclusion that I think a lot of us expected. But I think for Charlie, what makes this episode most interesting is this idea is like, okay, I no longer have these people chasing after me. So
Yeah.
what do I want to do with my life? And I think with this episode, she's very much down the hole of, okay, I want to try to help animals. I want to try to be a hero for animals, which is a
Yeah.
worthy cause. We both really, really love animals. We're pet owners here. So it's like, okay, I can see this being something that's attractive to you.
Absolutely. Now, the part of this episode
Yeah.
that got me the most excited, though,
Okay.
was Good Buddy, Steve Buscemi, on the CB radio.
Yeah.
I knew that he was going to be coming up this season. I saw his name in the credits as Good Buddy. I heard his voice, and they didn't even have to tell me that it was him.
Yeah.
It's him. And I'm so excited about him. He's one of my most favorite actors out there. He's played so many different types of roles. He's so iconic and he's just fun to watch. And we haven't even seen him yet, but he is on the CB radio talking to Charlie at the beginning of this, where she's kind of like, yeah, I don't know where to go, what to do, whatever. By the end of the episode, she's, explaining her story to him. Who is this guy? He's calling himself Good Buddy, but is he a good buddy? Is this something nefarious that's going to be coming up? I can't wait because I feel like we're going to see them meet up at some point this season where we're going to see Steve actually meet up with her. What is he actually going to be all about?
I'm curious if he's somebody associated in some way with Beatrix who's been watching her and understanding maybe a little bit of what she's about, and maybe he has some sort of use for her, because it does feel like, yeah, I mean, this is a procedural, but they're kind of starting already to kind of spread out something that could be a part of these upcoming episodes. I don't think this is the last time we're going to hear from Good Buddy. I think it's going to be, I think it'll be established in one way that, okay, he's a plot device. He's somebody who Charlie can talk to about where she's going, what she's doing, but there's going to be an ulterior motive. Like, fart jokes aside, like this show is smart enough to know that, okay, you're casting Steve Buscemi. Like, this is somebody people are going to want a little bit of payoff with eventually.
Yeah, listen, Steve Buscemi's not rolling out of bed for some voiceover work in one episode. It's not going to be a thing that he needs to do by any means. Like, he would do a favor to do something like this, but he doesn't need to do this. I feel like if you've got Steve Buscemi, you're going to want to use him further. And it does feel like it's going to be more than just a plot device. I feel like they are going to meet up, but is it going to be in good circumstances where Good Buddy is somebody who's a good buddy? Is he going to be somebody who's going to end up being a victim, and she's going to end up maybe going into the next season where she's trying to figure out who killed Good Buddy or what is going on? Or is it going to be he's just who he says he is?
I just really like the idea that they cast Buscemi for this, because I think about this show and I think about the places we see Charlie sort of go to. I think you would sort of assume the voice on the radio would be like, well, hello there, I've been trucking along for 200 miles. And instead you have Buscemi, who has a very distinct, not that accent that I am not even going to try to do. So this is a very different sort of dude. And in the interim, I kind of just hope that every episode of this season is like Charlie because she's so adrift now, being like, okay, I want to immerse myself in this and this and this, and just trying to find different things that kind of work for her.
Yeah, and it does seem like she has stayed put at this gator sanctuary for a while, and it's kind of interesting even after this particular case, because we've got Fran, who then did turn herself in, who is working at the gator sanctuary. But why has Charlie decided to move on from it at this point? Like, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this big thing where we're going to help free Daisy and do all this work for the gator, and that happens. Daisy ends up being free and doing the alligator roll at the end, which I do after I have a good meal, and I know that that's dark, but it's what happens. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, why is Charlie moving on from this? Because she's not working then with somebody who did this on purpose, who is nefarious. It's somebody who made a mistake, is trying to pay for her mistake and trying to do the right thing, and couldn't do the right thing because of her boss. So she's making herself have her own penance by working at the gator sanctuary.
This is the hard part with this show, is
Like,
just,
why is she moving on?
yeah, trying to find a way to justify without her being tailed by dangerous people, like why Charlie is going to continue to do this. And I think maybe I don't have a good perspective on this because, if I move somewhere else, like I'm tired for, I don't know, months, years, like I'm not mobile enough to do something like that. I mean, maybe she's just too ingrained in it that anytime something goes remotely wrong or is different, she's just like, okay, I'm gonna pick up, I'm gonna try something else. But it's a harder thing to buy and justify as a viewer now.
I agree. I mean, she has youth on her side. I'm 50 years old. I went to Bulgaria like a couple months ago, and man, it took me like weeks to be able to get my sleep back together and not
Yeah.
be tired and just dragging my butt around.
Yeah, this is not the life for us. This is not what we would have chose. I mean, you do you, Charlie, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's where we are though, coming out of Poker Face season 2, episode 4. Oh yeah, one more comedic line I will throw out there that I very much enjoyed. When they recognized and gave the award for best internal affairs investigation, where everybody in the audience just starts to boo. Like, it's like, okay, maybe the police awards do have a couple of moments that are kind of fun, and they really played that up.
That was so funny.
All right, well, that's where we are coming out of this episode, but be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other Poker Face coverage. And yeah, you can support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description below. We are covering there exclusively in video form Criminal Minds Evolution on Paramount Plus, and then also Murderbot on Apple TV Plus. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time.